Hello. Well, I'm back in the workshop, and what am I doing? Well, what I've come to realise on YouTube is a whole load of people spend a whole load of time telling you about changes to their channel and all the rest of it, and there's a reason for that. It is actually quite tough, basically, coming up with all this sort of material and what have you, and doing the editing as well. So one is often faced with the choice of do you actually want to do it or not, or do you compromise in some way? So that's what I'm going to do from now on. Most of the stuff on this channel is just going to be me mucking around, and most of it I'm not going to do any editing. I mean, I'm just literally going to put it into OBS Studio, hit start recording, record it, and then after half an hour or something, stop, and then I'll just upload it. So some of it might be slightly amusing. Other times it's just simply just to let you know that I'm here, I'm working, and hopefully there'll be something interesting happening. Today there isn't really. All I'm doing today is cutting up some strips to hold some windows in place on the conservatory. We've got an old wooden conservatory on the house which is slowly falling to bits, but I've just got to do a bit of DIY. So that's what I'm doing. I will just be doing that, and I shall be waffling away as I go, probably. I think the initial bit will be just cutting the strips down on a circular saw, and then I'll get a hand plane out and do a bit of planing. There we go. Right, so to the circular saw. So what do I need? I need a couple of long pieces, so but it's got to be 25mm by 12.5. I know this isn't set up very well. Yeah, that'll do it. I've got to adjust this at some stage so that what reads as 25mm actually is. And do you know what? I'm going to do that now. So no more mucking around. There's a lot of discussion about whether you should wear gloves or not when you're actually using some of these machines. Even these little fabric ones are enough to pull get caught up in a machine and pull your fingers in. So I tend to make a sort of operation by operation decision about whether it's a good idea or not. So even just for tinkering around like this, I normally put these little fabric ones on, and then when I'm actually doing things like circular sawing, where your fingers aren't normally, or shouldn't be, anywhere near the blade, I tend to wear either these little fabric ones, or if I'm feeling ultra cautious, I wear these, which are a woven kind of mesh. But again, I kind of make a decision based on what I feel is the greatest risk. If the greatest risk is actually getting too close and pushing your hand into the blade or something, then I think it's probably best to be wearing those. Those are about 4 times as resistant as leather, apparently, as wearing a thick pair of leather gloves. But then other things like using an electric drill or something, you kind of do better to not have any fabric on your skin, so that with something like a drill, where it's winding away, or an electric screwdriver, the danger of getting caught up, because you're wearing gloves, is perhaps one of the biggest dangers of all, I would say. So that's why I tend not to do that right. Right, so I've loosened up the bar with the, well, I thought I had. It needs a bit more loosening. There we go. I've loosened up the bar with measurements on it. So now I'm going to set it at a dimension, make a cut, measure what that is, and then set that bar left or right by the amount I need to correct any mistakes, any error. Here we go. Let's see what it is. So I've got that set at 20, which I think is about right now. And it's cutting 18.5. So I actually need to take that over that way, 1.5 mil. So how do I do this? If I just put something there at 1.5, and then just move that until it lines up with the 0, like that. Let's tighten up one of those. I'll tighten up one bolt just to stop it moving whilst to get this right. Then there's also a fine adjustment on the actual on this thing as well. You can adjust the little thing there backwards and forwards, but the error I had was larger than that would cope with. Right, so let's set this now at 20 mil. See what it cuts. It's reading 20 and it's cutting, it's leaving 20.5. So let's just tap it a little way that way. That'll do it. Right, let's tighten that up. That wasn't very scientific. Just using a piece of old softwood floorboard for making these strips, and obviously I'll treat it with some preservative before I put it in place. I'll put it in place using a brad nailer, an air nailer that I've got. With these videos, I'm hoping it'll become a little bit more exciting because I should be able to use a roving camera, but at the moment I can't because I haven't got a wireless network in the workshop just at the moment. I will have so shortly because I've just ordered a cable and stuff for it. I'm going to bury it across the garden, and that means then I'll have a wireless network in here, which means I can then use a camera which is connected up to the computer over the wireless, so I'll actually be able to sort of just carry it around with me and so on. Because I mean, I could with a cable at the moment, because that camera's the one I'm working with at the moment is connected up by cable, but You can't really have a cable sort of traipsing across the workshop. Well, you could, but I don't want to. It'd just be a bit awkward. So let's set this at 25, which should be really easy operation. Now I've corrected that. There you go. Obviously I'll check it. But let's cut off. I think I need how many strips? Well, I think I'll just turn that all into 25mm strips, and we'll start with that. Obviously I've got the extractor as well, but I will still use a mask. Safety first. Safety first. That was an object lesson in how to make something simple really complicated, actually, because I've got a load of stuff on my bench which I don't normally have there. That was all getting in the way, so I couldn't just feed the board through the saw in the usual manner, and I didn't realise that until after I'd started, so that was a bit odd. There we go. You might recognise this end of the workshop. If you ever watch the Mitchell and Vincent live feed, because that's where we, I mean, the camera is pretty much where this one is actually, normally. So, right. Next stage is going to be to thin that, no, actually to put that to one side and actually do the other dimensions as well. What's the others? 14 by 12.5, and I just thought I'd use all of this stuff I've got over here for that one. Yeah, that makes sense. Should be enough for that one. Yeah, the other thing that made it all look a little bit more complicated than it needed to was there was a huge blob of putty. Something had been filled in with a big thing of putty. That's what that zing noise was when the blade got to that. I mean, putty is just like an aggregate, like a filler, like plaster or sand or something similar with boiled linseed oil. So you're just left with this aggregate bound together, and so it's you don't really want to be feeding it into the wood saw. But anyway, so what am I doing? The common measurement on those and these other ones is 12.5. So I'll do the measurement that's not common first, which is 14 mil. And then I can just change the setting and just throw everything through at 12.5. What else was I going to say about this workshop? What else has happened that's of any interest since you were all last here? I think the only sort of slightly interesting thing is I made a desk for myself, which is going to be quite useful. Obviously, that's next to the little metalworking bench, little shelf unit there as well. Then down here I've got the a load of canvases that I've just made for my wife to do some painting. And then behind that is my little laser cutter, and then a CNC machine in the corner, a little old DIY one that I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I might. I mean, I'm not going to use it for my violin making at all, but I was thinking I might actually try some, perhaps cutting some molds on it, or some non-violin stuff, or maybe even an electric violin. See what that's like, but we'll see how it goes. What else have we got in here? Big pile of bicycles, all the usual bump that you find in a workshop. Motorbike. But yeah, then the rather almost steampunk backdrop for the for Mitch and Vincent's sort of live streaming. But it is also my workshop as well. So, and what else? That's fun. I'm in the process of repairing another little lathe. I just love the look of that one. You know, I have to admit it's embarrassing, but I kind of bought it because it looks so cute. Really, I've got the other one, the one I did some work and got working is over there, and that's working really well. So I'll be using that for the peg making, hopefully. Right, on with this anyway. So a bit more sawing, I'm afraid. Well, let's put this over here for a change. If you can see it there. Yeah. I mean, I don't think this is going to be a terribly exciting view from wherever you're looking. So we'll go with that one. Oh, right. So now those and the others need the other dimension cut down to 12.5, and then we'll be laughing. When I was learnt a bit of wood machining at the London College of Furniture when I was doing my guitar making after my A-levels, one of the best pieces of advice I ever received was imagine what would happen if the piece of wood suddenly magically disappeared. So whenever I'm working on the bandsaw with a router, especially things like a planer or the circular saw, I always kind of just think, if you're pushing hard, if that wood wasn't there, where would your hands go? And so always bear that in mind. And because potentially nasty things has to be said. Anyway, enough of that. Let's carry on with this for a bit.
Sorry, this hasn't been very exciting, but I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. Just a quick burst of whatever it is I'm up to, basically.
I appreciate that may well be some of the most boring footage on YouTube, but there we go. One of the reasons I was wearing a mask is that I'm using reclaimed timber, and although the extraction's pretty good with the dust extraction on the circular saw, I don't know what's in all the paint, so could easily be some lead paint on some of these, because some of it is quite old. Some of these pieces might well be from the 1950s or something. So it could easily have some lead paint on it, which I'd rather not breathe in, obviously. So that's all scrap. I'll just cut. I'm hoping that next time I do this, it'll be something a little bit more exciting than just cutting up bits of wood. But there we go. Anyway, so I said I wasn't going to edit this. I think I probably will take out some of the really boring bits, to be honest. Because watching me sawing up wood is going to be a little bit dull, isn't it? Anyway, talk to you soon. Cheers, folks. Look after yourselves.